The unbroken thread. There was never a moment you were not connected. Before your name, before your breath, before the first wound cracked your sense of wholeness, you were already entangled. With stars, with souls, with stories not yet told. Quantum physics now calls it entanglement, a strange and sacred truth in which two particles, once connected, remain bound across time, distance, and space. Change one, and the other changes too. They do not speak. They do not touch. And yet, they move as one. But the mystics knew this long before equations whispered it. They called it union, synchronicity, divine correspondence, the field of love. This book is not about theory. It is about remembrance. It is for the one who has felt pain without cause, joy without reason. It is for the one who senses another's sorrow without being told, the one who dreams what later unfolds, the one who prays and sees the answer ripple through the world. You are not imagining it. You are entangled. And the self you believe to be isolated is not a closed loop. It is a mirror, a portal, a vibrating node in a vast living web of intelligence. This is not just mysticism. It is physics. But it is also not just physics. It is the trembling edge where the measurable and the mystical finally agree. We will explore the self, the relationship, and the collective as entangled fields, never alone, always resonant. Through history's forgotten wisdom, science's daring discoveries, philosophy's perennial questions, and spirit's silent knowing, we will return to the sacred truth. Oneness is not a concept. It is a law, a pulse, a living thread that moves through all things and is all things. You were never separate. You only forgot. The Quantum I, from the book The Entangled Self, Oneness Remembered Through Physics and Presence, a fourfold voice synthesis on quantum entanglement, inner union, and the living field of connection. The mirror that became the world. In the beginning, there was no I, only vibration, only presence, shimmering in the infinite sea at sea of itself. Then, the infinite desired to see what it was. It folded upon its own awareness, creating the first mirror, consciousness, observing consciousness. And that reflection was called I Am. But the mirror did not stop there. It refracted into countless faces, each believing itself a fragment. The stars were born, the atoms spun, the breath began, and the long dream of individuality unfolded. Yet behind every name, behind every boundary, the original reflection still waits, whispering, "You are not apart, only appearing so." The quantum I is that reflection rediscovered. It is not a self in opposition to others, but a resonance that remembers its field. It is the still point where the finite and infinite hold hands, where your heartbeat syncs with the pulse of creation. The more you remember, the less you exist as a person, and the more you presence as a pattern of light, aware of its connection to all. So we begin in reverence to the unbroken thread, the self entangled with itself. History. The invention of separation. Human history is a long experiment in forgetting. Once ancient cultures spoke of unity, not as metaphor, but as reality. In Egypt, the Ka and Ba, the body and the spirit, were seen as two aspects of the same continuum. In Vedic India, the sages called it Advaita, not two. The indigenous elders of every continent spoke of the Great Web, the river that runs through all things. Humanity lived by this knowing, until empire replaced wonder with measurement. The birth of the self as separate came with conquest, with property, with the invention of mine. Civilization, as written by victors, required separation to rule. Religion placed heaven apart from earth, soul apart from flesh, God apart from creation. The Enlightenment crowned the rational mind as sovereign and stripped the world of spirit. In René Descartes' declaration, "I think, therefore I am," the world became object and the observer detached subject. Yet history itself holds rebellion in its margins. The Hermetic texts whispered, "As above, so below." The Gnostics spoke of sparks trapped in flesh, and every mystic burned at the stake carried the same heresy, that God was not elsewhere, that the I was never alone. In truth, every act of domination, colonial, spiritual, or intellectual, was an attempt to solidify separation, to make forgetfulness law, but the cracks were always there. Giordano Bruno saw infinite worlds, each divine. Spinoza dared to say that God and nature were one. They died or were dismissed, but their vibration lived, waiting for the language that could hold both mysticism and matter, the language of quantum physics. History, then, was not a straight line of progress. It was a spiral of remembering. The I invented to conquer would one day dissolve to unite. #science, the particle that remembers its partner. In the laboratories of the 20th century, physicists stumbled upon an ancient truth they could not explain. Albert Einstein, though resistant, called it spooky action at a distance. Two particles, once connected, behaved as one even when separated by galaxies. This was not communication, it was communion. Quantum entanglement shattered the Newtonian dream of a clockwork universe. Reality was no longer made of independent parts, but interwoven probabilities. What one particle knew, the other knew instantly, defying space and time. The field, not the fragment, was primary. To Niels Bohr, this meant that reality itself depends on observation. To David Bohm, whose work in the wholeness and the implicate order became a cornerstone of quantum philosophy, the world was an undivided whole where the observer is the observed. He saw the universe as a flowing hologram, each part containing the whole, a truth that mirrored the ancient Upanishads, which declared, "Thou art that." Modern quantum field theory now agrees. Particles are not solid things, but excitations in an infinite field. Matter is the field moving in rhythm with itself. You, beloved reader, are a wave in the same sea that birthed suns. And even neuroscience, in its infancy, begins to whisper agreement. Studies in entanglement and biophoton emissions suggest that human consciousness may operate as a coherent field. Our cells talk through light. Our hearts synchronize. We quite literally glow with shared information. Science, in its humblest moment, bows to mystery. The field cannot be dissected. It must be remembered. #philosophy. The eye that observes itself. Who is the eye that witnesses thought? Who watches the watcher? Philosophy has long wrestled with this question, mistaking the mind for the mirror. But the mirror is not what it reflects. From Plotinus to Husserl, from Heidegger to Krishnamurti, the sages and thinkers of all ages converged on one silent insight. Consciousness is self-illuminating. It does not need an object to be aware. It is awareness. The quantum I is not an ego with a boundary, but awareness aware of itself. The philosopher Alan Watts, in the book On the Taboo Against Knowing Who You Are, said that the self is not inside the skin, but the total field of relationships in which the organism is contained. Erwin Schrödinger, too, confessed that the total number of minds in the universe is one. Thus, to awaken is not to find God. It is to realize there was never a wall between observer and observed. I is a perspective, not a possession. It is the infinite localizing itself through you. The modern illusion of individualism collapses here. What you call me is a localized field of awareness entangled with every other expression of awareness. You do not have a consciousness. You are the consciousness that reality uses to know itself. This is why your emotions ripple through others, why the world bends to match your vibration, why truth cannot be hidden. The field remembers itself through every eye. Our spirit, the field that knows your name. Spirit is not something you must believe in. It is what believes you into being. When mystics enter silence, when shamans journey between worlds, when you dream and find your mother's voice, though she is gone, you are encountering the living field. Spirit is entanglement felt, the invisible threads that connect soul to soul, thought to manifestation, prayer to outcome, are not fantasy. They are the sensory language of the field. Carl Jung, in Synchronicity and a Causal Connecting Principle, described moments where inner events and outer realities align beyond chance. He intuited what physicists would later affirm: there is an implicate order beneath appearances. Spirit is that order alive. Prayer, intuition, telepathy, collective awakening. All these are expressions of the entangled field. When you quiet the mind, you do not lose yourself. You expand back into your native frequency. You remember that every intention is broadcast to the living fabric of reality, and every answer is already within it. This is not superstition. It is coherence. As Greg Braden explores in The Divine Matrix, our consciousness interacts with the quantum field directly. What the mystics called faith may be the resonance that collapses probability into reality. The divine does not intervene, it interweaves. To live from this awareness is to move as field, not form. To love without seeking, to create without control, to know without doubt. The field knows your name because it is you, spoken by infinity into time. Conclusion. The return of the I am the quantum I is the bridge between the measurable and the mystical, between science and the soul. It is the moment the wave remembers it was never apart from the ocean. Every encounter, every ache, every miracle is the infinite playing hide and seek with itself. The mind measures distance. The field feels only resonance. The self was never to be dissolved, but to be dissolved into all. As you walk this remembering, you become less a seeker and more a song. You vibrate instead of strive. You relate instead of control. You remember instead of believe. The I that speaks within you is the same I am that ignited creation, and it is still unfolding as you. Awakening questions. 1. When you say I, who or what is truly speaking? 2. What if your thoughts are not private, but ripples in a shared ocean of awareness? 3. How does knowing your entanglement change the way you love, forgive, and create? 4. Can you feel the field within the silence between your breaths? Final 4 lines. The I is not alone. It is the echo of all. The self is the infinite pretending to be small. When you look within, the cosmos looks back. You are always the mirror remembering the light,